Just because the decklist video took far too bloody long, I'm going to try to keep this tournament report as concise as I possibly can, while at least hopefully delivering a handful of additional details that I may not have mentioned in the decklist video, because I did mention a fair few bits and pieces in that video, of course, so we'll just get on with it. I went 2-1-1 after 4 rounds, and so my first round was my one loss for the tournament, and that was against Clifford. He went first and basically did his stuff. I counteracted with my plays and was actually really happy with the overall performance, but eventually he did sort of like wear me down and knock me over there. And then game 2, I made a horrible misplay and mask changed in response to the Scout when I should have MST'd. And in theory, I should have just freaking chained MST anyway, because I was going to mask change into Dark Lore anyway, so I should have just chained the MST. And so that was a bit of a double fuck up on my part. That ended up costing me the game as well, so I ended up losing that match. And then round 2, I played against Burning Abyss. I had him... he went first again as well. I think for all of the rounds, my opponent went first because I kept losing the die roll. So he went with a straight up Dante play, about standard as you can get, and I opened the Wild Hearts mask change combo that I spoke about, and I actually didn't have any real concern about knocking over the Dante because I knew that I was going to have a really solid board. I also had my Book of Moon, so that if he did go for the Xyz play, then I'd just book one of his monsters, and then that play would go down the water. Thankfully, though, he did go straight for the BLS, and so I was able to stop that. I was thinking he might have banished, like, Dark Lore or something, but he went straight in for the swing, and I just booked that. I should probably actually point out, because I did that combo, got the Diane, ran over the Dante, got Shadow Mist, Mask Change, attack with Shadow Mist, Dark Lore, attack, and there, like, he had a Scam attached to his Dante and decided not to use the Scam. I don't know if it was actually because he forgot about it, or if he didn't actually want to use it out of risk of getting something out of his hand banished. But yeah, he did that, dropped the BLS. I booked it when he went for the attack. So I just swung over it and basically just pushed for a shitload of damage and then took that one. Game 2 was very, very grindy. It was very sort of back and forth. It was very tight. He got out a Nasty Golem against me. I was able to navigate my way around it. So I just kept swinging, and then eventually he was able to get a Father play off to clear my board just enough to knock me out there. So that ended in a draw. And then round 3, I played against another Clifford, which I was really, really pissed off about because I thought it was going to end up like freaking last week where I had 3 Clifford and one other bloody crummy deck, Boojins it was, I'm pretty sure. And so... Game 1, he opened Scout, he did that, he did this, that, and the next bloody thing. He had, because I tried to go for the Xyz play. He Vanities, which pissed me off. But I sat back and I'm just like, okay, gonna try to go for the. Did I go for Acid? No, I did not go for Acid. What I did was I actually went for Book. I went to book his Clifford because it had Sacrifice on it, and so I was hoping the Sacrifice would go to the graveyard and the Vanities would die. He changed Trap Stance so that the Vanities could stay on the board, but then I took that as my opportunity and got Acid out and wiped his backer and basically just swung with Acid and I think Diane. It was either Diane or maybe even an Alias, but I ended up taking that game. Game 2, my opening hand was 1 Shadow Mist, 2 Mask Change, and 2 Hero Lives, and he allowed me to go first. I don't know why. So I just went with the Shadow Mist, I set all my back row, I made Dark Lore as quickly as I could, banished, I think it was like a carrier with Dark Lore's effect when he went for the Scout. So basically, he basically just had to sit back and not do too much. And so I had the Bubble Man in my hand from the Shadow Mist search. I top deck another Shadow Mist. So I went Shadow Mist, Special, Bubble Man, and at that point he went Dust Tornado. I was expecting Vanities because he had 3 back row. And so that got me thinking either he wanted to YOLO swag it and try to take out a Mask Change, or he wanted to try to mess around with the chains, knowing that he had Vanities and that if I chained mask change at the wrong time, he would have just shut that down. So I actually let the Dust Tornado slide because I hit one of my hero lives. So good bluff to have. And so I basically just sat there wondering, like, I know he's got vanities. I could just about tell he's got vanities. I went to pick up my extra deck, and for some reason that was enough to develop. It put him into an insecure sense. It put him into a sense of insecurity enough that it made him go open game state vanities. And so from there, I just chained the mask change and pretty much ripped him apart. He had a sacrifice, but I had Dark Law on the board, so that was getting banished. So I won that, and then round 4, placed Tellarknights. I can't remember too much about game 1. It was relatively back and forth, but I had Dark Law for the most part, and basically just pushed him out of resources and won that game. Game 2, he kind of beat the crap out of me. I'm not gonna lie here. He got Trevor off and basically just smacked me in the ball sack right there. And then game 3 went pretty tough. Went, I think, just into time. I developed really quick advantage. Had Acid and Dark Law, and so just sat back. He had nothing. He had his Heart of the Cards moment. Drew a Rota. Rotated into Altan. Altan to Olsum. Actually, no, it was Deneb. And then I dropped my Flying Sea. My one use of Flying Sea. And it just cost him the whole game. So, following turn, I flipped the Raigeki, swung with massive damage for game. So, that is it. 2-1-1. It got me 8th place. It's just a shame there wasn't a top 8. They had to cut it closer to a top 4 playoff for this local, because it was like 10 o'clock, nearly 10 o'clock when the 4 rounds finished. So, what can you do? So, that's it for my tournament report. I tried to keep it as concise as I possibly could, but then I ended up going on a pointless tangent in about that round 3. But hey, what can you do? It was a funny little game, which I will probably remember just because of the fact that I was able to pretty much mess with my opponent's mind. I kind of like that. It's kind of makes me feel powerful. I know it's egotistical of me for me to say that, but mind games are really an interesting concept, especially in this sort of game, because messing with the opponent's mind can be the difference between them just nailing that correct move and then just having them misplay and just fall into a heap of crap. So it is what it is. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing anything before the next tournament, so I will probably see you next for that report and deck list and blah 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 blah. So see you then.